All right, well, now's the time of the evening where we get to introduce our main speaker for the evening. So today we've got the privilege of having James Howlin from Cake Accounting come and join us. James and I actually only caught up again a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember quite. Oh, that's right, because we jumped on another meeting together and just got chatting about his new system that he's talked about, which is the dessert cash flow management system. And yeah, so we had a good chat about it. And I said, "Oh, look, you've just got to come on here and share this because it's too good to keep a secret." So and look, James and I have gone back sort of quite a way as well. He's a member of a BNI chapter. I used to be in a BNI chapter, and we sort of met there. For those that don't know what BNI is, that's a business networking breakfast for, or sometimes lunch, I think, for businesses. I'm also part of another one called BX, for those that are in Australia and New Zealand. That's another one as well that's worth going to if you're looking for networking opportunities. But James runs a business called Cake Accounting. Love the name. His logo there is a cupcake. I think it's got a cherry on top, isn't it? No, I think
it's a cherry.
It is
you
a
need
cherry.
a cherry.
Yeah. So and I love the concept that he's definitely not a dry accountant. The thing that I think that the reason why James and I get on so well is he's also a marketer as well. So mix an accountant with marketer, numbers with marketing, that there's an unbeatable combination. So James is here tonight to introduce us to Cake Accounting and really to the dessert cash flow management system. So welcome, James. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Nick. Thanks for that warm introduction. And yeah, I spent university not understanding marketing, started my own business and went, that's what it's all about. So it's been an interesting journey ever since. Anyway, I'm going to work out how to share my screen and then we'll kick this underway. Hopefully, cool. Hopefully you can see my screen.
Oh, looking good.
Look at that. I can see all of you. I've lost the chat box, but you'll let me know if something.
Yeah, the chat box sometimes slides underneath the screen there.
Hidden somewhere. I've got like 5 screens in all seriousness. But anyway, here we go. So you can hear me, you can see my screen. Cool. So now I need to work out how to move on to the next slide. Let's try when the clicker doesn't work. There we go. All right. Who are you? So I'm going to start with who are you. I think I know who I am, and I'm pretty comfortable with that. And I'm very excited about what we're going to talk about tonight. I wanted to start with who are you and make sure I'm talking to the right audience. So now there was 2 things I was supposed to do tonight. One was a jokes for an aged care thing. I think with that introduction, I'm in the right spot talking to business owners. Would that be fair enough to say? All right, cool. Thanks, Tracy. Nods, nods, nods. All right, so I've gone on a limb and guessed you're owners of small and medium businesses, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 employees. Maybe you're doing it by yourself. I'll guess that you're looking to grow, thanks, Dougie, grow your business and that you want more than ordinary results for your business. You're out on a Tuesday night or you're somewhere on a Tuesday night listening to an accountant talk, so you want something that most business owners don't want. We're in the same spot? All right, I'm going to do my best to make it exciting, interesting, and make sure you get something out of here. So tonight, ground rules. I'm here to help you get the most from your business. I want you to succeed. That's what I'm here for. Nick mentioned about having your cake and eat it too, and that's really what we're about. So we've got some written values on a website that needs refreshing, but our first 2 values are build meaningful relationships and do meaningful work. So we're all about helping business owners get what they want. After you've been in business for a couple of years, it can be easy to forget what the heck you were there for. And you just end up running this business that you're stuck with because you can't sell it and you can't get rid of it. And I help business owners get back to what the heck they're doing, and that's what I'm here for tonight. And tonight's going to be interactive, so I'm going to get you to jump into the chat box and sort of I'll find out where it is so I can see what's going on. But I want you to jump in the chat box and get back to me. Open up your mic and ask questions. let's make it as interactive as we can. I like presenting to an audience that's in front of me. Obviously, we can't right now, but I like to read what's going on. So, and look, I'm an accountant. I don't want to see you fall asleep. I want you to get lots of stuff out of this. So, cool. So, who am I? What the heck are you doing listening to me? So, I'm an accountant. I've wife and 2 sons at home. I'm a chartered accountant. I've been doing this I've been working in accounting role since 2001. So for quite some time. Cake Accounting was founded in 2015, so we're 5.5 years old. And my background, I'm a tax nerd, so I'm ex-Sydney, working with high net wealth individuals. So 40 million net wealth plus was sort of what was the work we did. And there's fascinating stories in all of that. I left Sydney to spend more time with the family. And I realised when I started Cake Accounting, I thought people just needed better tax advice. Business owners, especially in the small business market, need business advice. And so we provide great tax stuff. I'm a tax nerd, still love that stuff. But we also help business owners with the really practical stuff. How do you add clients, what do you work out your capacity of your business, all that sort of fun stuff. So that's me. All right, I want you to cast your mind back. Remember when, not too long ago, but let's say 12 months ago, or maybe at the start of the year, if you were in business then, can you give me a wave or jump in the chat box if you were in business 12 months ago or at the start of the year, just so I know who's there. And cool, thanks Tim. Cool, yeah, Tracy, yes, hello. All right, so what I want you to do is cast your mind back and try and think of the biggest problem that you had in your business in January. And type in the chat box, what's the biggest challenge you might have had? So for me, thinking back, it was talking about, we were sort of transitioning team. We were losing a team member and getting a new one. Nobody had any money in. Yeah, fair enough. January is a tough month for selling wants. Time, holidays. You would have been on holiday too, Nick. So don't, there you go, Victoria. Having enough money saved to pay GST. January can be tough for some. Yeah. All right, good work, Nick. All right, so now, Peter, beautiful. More customers, web pages, cool. All right, thanks so much, guys. Think about those problems and then compare them to the problems that you might be sort of thinking about now that we're in the middle of COVID and all of the crazy things that are going on right now. I'm going to, given some thought. Good work, Gabriella. Thanks for jumping in. My view is the biggest change between then and now would be something to do with certainty. Would people be with me if I said certainty was one of the things that the biggest things that's changed this year? Everything's changed, but I think if we look at certainty, cool. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Tim. All right. So I'm not promising certainty, but there's some things you can do in your business to increase the amount of certainty you've got, and one of them is managing your cash flow. So let's hit on with that one. All right, so next thing, type in the chat box, and then I'll talk, I promise. What's the most important thing in your business? I know that's an open-ended question. Tracy, me, yes. And I've got to see you, Tracy. I'll reach out and you're just down the road, so it's on the list. Passion, yep. Profit, I liked him. Cash, Dougie, you're with me. Income, people, a great offer, says the marketer. All right, team. I've asked this question to hundreds of business owners in the last month, and I've got a big range of answers. So I've got IP is an answer. P is cash flow. Team, continuous improvement. Yep, continuous improvement. These are the most common answers I get. IP, employees, marketing, systems, time, website. Is website on there? Yourself, your business partner. All of these I think are really true. You need employees and IP and clients and team and an offer and people and passion. For most of those things, you need money to pay for them. And I get some little nods, big nods. If you don't have money, you can't exploit your IP. You can't pay employees. Your business partner will have a disagreement and walk away. Yourself, you need money too, let's be honest. You need to get paid. You need to eat. You need to put a roof over your head. So my thesis tonight, the most important thing is the ability to manage cash within your business. Is everyone happy if I make that I think it's a pretty bold statement. Is everyone comfortable with that as a statement? You need to manage cash. If you can't manage cash, and obviously you're here to talk to an accountant, so hear from an accountant, so you need to manage cash. In working with small businesses for the last, long time, but in particular on the Gold Coast, most business owners find themselves underpaid. You could go get a job and get paid more without enough money to pay for tax bills and other bills as they fall due. I don't like that statement, but that sort of seems to be the experience of a lot of business owners that I work with and talk to. And I'm going to compound that. In the future, what does that look like if that's the way you're managing your business? I'm going to double down and say, I believe if you don't have a system to manage your cash, your business will not survive. I know it's a big, bold one, but it's if you don't have a system to manage your cash, you're done. And a lot of business owners I see, they just sort of limp along without thinking about what they're doing in the future. And an example of this, did you know that Boeing are back to making airplanes? Has anyone heard that? Yeah, stress. It's true. I like that one, Gabriella. Bad master, but a good servant. That's great. So Boeing are making airplanes again. So international flying is at an all-time low. Domestic flying is an all-time a low from memorable history. Boeing are making more planes to sell because that's what Boeing do. They've got no other thing to do than make planes. We as small business owners have got options. We don't have to be Boeing and just make planes because we've got to make planes because we've got to pay the bills. We can go out and pivot and be creative, and that's, I guess, why we're here on a Tuesday night, and that's what we're going to do. So we've got to do things differently. Give me a wave. Have you guys heard the story of the scorpion and the frog? Yeah, Tracy's heard that one. Scorpion and a frog meet each other on the side of the river, and they want to. Nick loves it. I love it too. The scorpion wants to get across. The frog wants to get across, and so the scorpion says, "Well, I'll just jump on your back and get across the river." And the frog says, "I don't want to do that. You'll sting me, and then I'll die." And the scorpion says, "No, I promise not to sting you." And anyway, they agree to get across the river. Halfway across the river, the scorpion stings the frog, and the frog says, "Well, what'd you do that for? Now we're both going to die. I'll drown. I'll die, and you'll drown." And the scorpion says, "Well, I'm a scorpion, and that's what scorpions do." So we need to not be the scorpion, because that's important. We want to think differently, and we've got to be careful if we're set up to be the frog. Well, that's a bad spot to be in too. So we've got to be smarter. So what's the solution? So the dessert cash flow system gives business owners look at that. I've got someone behind me. Hello, that person I've never met. I'm in a shared office tonight, so the kids aren't running through the screen. Cool. He's just photobombing a Facebook Live. Good on him. All right. The dessert cash flow system gives business owners the tools they need to manage cash within the business. So it's a system, it's a structure to help you manage your bills. Before we dive right in, human psychology, I'm going to need a volunteer that wants to open their mic up and make themselves a little silly. Who's a good volunteer? All right, Tim, you're up. People struggle with multitasking.
I am actually multitasking. I'm writing a sales proposal.
All right. Well, here's something. So what I want you to do you know, just before I should have asked, do you know your alphabet?
Largely.
Largely. Cool. All right. What I want you to do, I want you to count from 1 to, 15, 20.
Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
All right. You can count an alphabet. Let's go from A to, I don't know, somewhere.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. That'll do.
That'll do. My mum was a librarian, so I got sort of the alphabet was drilled into me. All right. What I want you to do is alternate them. So I do start with A and then number. So do letter, number, letter, number. I told you might get embarrassed.
All right. No worries. 1A, 2B, 3C, 4D, 5E, 6F, 7G, 8H, 9, whatever.
You get the point?
Already getting confused.
It's so hard because your brain can't keep track of two things at the same time. You can do one thing. That's really it. So multitasking, it was great 15 years ago when we thought we could do it. Multitasking's dead. You can't do it. And in a similar way, it's really hard work for your brain to change levels of thinking. And thanks, Tim. Sorry. Well done. Well done.
Thanks, mate.
Good work for being brave. It's really hard to change gears of thinking. So your brain sort of thinks at a particular level and then, at a strategic level, and then it takes a lot of time to then answer the phone or your email goes ding and it takes a lot of time to get back to your strategic level of thinking. So what I do in my business, and Michelle is on our team listening in, I try and make my team and myself in particular think as little as possible during the week. So and that's not to say I don't like thinking. I'm reading through the tax consolidation manual right now. So that's 1,400 pages of really hard going. So I definitely think, but I don't want to think, I don't have to change what I'm thinking about. So I'll pick that up, read 100 pages, and then I'll go read an email. So we can't do both things. So the dessert cash flow system is the same thing. We think about money once a week for a couple of hours. That's it. Don't think about money again till next week. Sure, you check your bank account, you reconcile your Xero, you do that every day, but we're not going to do much thinking between weeks. So solution, build systems, and then regularly check in to make sure the systems work. Everyone with me on that one? Tracy's happy with that? Good. Alrighty. So what's this dessert cash flow system and why is it called dessert and all that sort of stuff? So dessert is an acronym for the bank accounts that I think you need when you're running a business. So dessert it's a cheat acronym, but we'll get to that. So you need bank accounts, the following bank accounts. So one for deposits. So clients put money into a bank account. We call that the deposit account. One for expenses. So this is the business expenses. So you pay rent, you pay your phone bill, you pay bills. That comes from the expenses account. The next one's called self. It is the owner. So the guy that's running, the guy or girl, the person running the business wants to get paid. They have a separate bank account to make sure they can get paid out of. Nice and simple. The next bank account is for somebody else. So there's a whole lot of studies and I'll go into it, but we think that giving money and giving to people that are in a less fortunate situation than us is generally a good idea. And so we have a different bank account to manage that one. Rainy day account. We've had a rainy year, so, it's good to have some money set aside and money set aside for tax. So that's the bank accounts that we think you need. And you'll see if you include this E, it spells dessert. So it's pretty chuffed when I worked that out. So that's the system. So in detail, this is a deposits account. Oh, hang on. I just broke my slide. Before we get to that, is everyone comfortable with that? Well, I'll go through it in more detail, but philosophically, I know it looks like what? There's 6 accounts. I'll explain why, but everyone's still with me. No one's packed a pillow. Cool. All right. Beautiful. Got through the first one. Deposits bank account. So we need a bank account to, yeah, thanks, Will. Yeah, it's similar to Profit First. Oh, look, Will, there's so many different systems that it's similar to. Profit First is a pretty useful system. It's also similar to the Barefoot Investor, though he's talking to individuals. I would trace a system to manage cash flow back to George Clason. His book called The Richest Man in Babylon, the 1926. Give me a wave if you've read Richest Man in Babylon. Jenny's read it. I read it each year. I think it is a fantastic book. It's one of the, I think it's, you forget, basic. Yep. 3 copies. Yep. I had it. I remember seeing it at a bookshop cheap, like it was $5 or $6, and I just bought all of them so I could get it out there. The Richest Man in Babylon. There we go. Tim's got it right in front of us. So type it in. What I've done is taken the principles in that and really translated into something that would work for a modern Australian business. So great book. Deposits account. So why do you need a separate deposits account from expenses account? And I'm gonna go a bit long on cake and related analogies, but it's it's right there. It's imagine being married to me, right? But cake all the time. So give me a wave if you've been to a wedding in the last, well, maybe not 12 months, but along the way. Been to a wedding and it was great fun. Imagine if, and it's a ridiculous imagine if, but it's the way we run our businesses. So if you look at it the same way, this is why you need a deposits account. Imagine if bride and groom get married, they run to the edge of, they run to the end of the hall, the aisle, and then the person that married them said, "All right, well, the reception will be on in 20 minutes. So just hang around. Oh, and by the way, we've got this amazing cake from a French baker. It'll be a four-tier wedding cake. It's going to be fantastic. Instead of serving it the way we you're used to at weddings, what we're going to do is we're just going to bring out a different tier, just no particular schedule. Just going to bring out tiers of the cake throughout the wedding, and just help yourself. We're not going to serve it up, and you just go over there and jump right in there. And it's an amazing cake. This baker is rated one of the best bakers in the world. You can imagine if that was the wedding, everyone's going to go, people are going to miss out on cake. It's all people are going to think about the whole wedding is when's the cake coming out, and I want to make sure I get some. Everyone's going to stand next to the cake table. Nobody's going to enjoy the wedding because they just want the cake. And it's a bit of a ridiculous analogy perhaps with your business, but by not having an account that money goes into and then gets served out to the different bank accounts where it's got to go, that's your business. You just got people that you're waiting to get paid, and they're just waiting for you to get paid by the cake table and waiting to be doled out without a system and without a schedule. And it's a terrible thing. That's why you need a deposits account. So what is it? It's a business transaction account, and it's used to, deposits go into it. That's the bank account details that your FPOS terminal go into, that go on your invoices. That's your bank account. Everyone, does that make sense? A separate bank account. You only use it to transfer money out into the other 5 bank accounts. We've got an expenses account. So this is the account that business expenses are paid out of. Sorry, I'm just going to get some water. So, rent, phone, electricity, all the usual stuff that you've got to pay for as a business owner. This comes out of this account. The reason the system works, one of the reasons the system works, is you're deliberately, if you're used to spending money as it comes in, you're deliberately restricting the amount of money that's available for your business. Use fingers up here so you can see. You're restricting the amount of money that's available for the business to spend, and you're paying bills on a schedule. And we'll get to the scheduling soon, but that's why it works. So you restrict the money that goes in there, and so your expenses will shrink accordingly. I'm sure you know the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. is the Pareto principle, most famous Pareto principle. The other principle by the same, I think he was an economist, smart guy regardless, so probably not an economist, is that expenses expand to, or time in his case, in his example, time expands to how much time you've got. Business expenses do the same thing. The more money you feed a business, the more it'll take away from you. So by restricting the amount of money you can go to a business, you'll restrict the amount it spends. It's pretty simple. Self-account, this is where the business owner, so money goes from the deposits account to the self-account before it's paid to the business owner. And depending on your structure and depending on lots of things, is how this will get out to you as the owner. But it's a separate bank account, so you know that you're getting paid the right amount each month, fortnight, week, whatever your schedule is. So that's a separate bank account. That money goes in. For me, I use it to pay for work-related doodads as well. So I pay myself wages out of the account, and I also pay. I've got a very fancy mouse that came out of the money for me bank account, because that's for me. You might see this thing. It's sort of fancy headphones that I can hear you with. That came out of that account. So they're business expenses, but they're not really business expenses. They're stuff for me. That's where that comes out of. Moving on, someone else account. It's a business transaction account. I say use to embed giving within your business. Give me a wave if you've heard of a group called B1G1, if that rings any bells. Nick has, Tim has. They've got a really great structured way of giving, and I'm not saying you need to give away lots of money. Steve's heard of them. Excellent. Thanks, Steve. I can't see you. There, I can see you now. Perfect. Thanks, mate. But either way, whether you use a structured giving program or not, having just some money set aside for people that are less fortunate keeps you connected with the broader community, and it triggers the gratitude part of your brain when you can give some money. And on the flip side, I've got business owners that give away way too much, and it really causes a problem within their business. So this gives them guide rails and goes, so somebody asks them for money that they'd normally give to, they can go, no, I've given enough money this month. And it makes those decisions really easy. So going back to the first analogy, changing gears, don't have to think. You go, somebody says, can I have some money? You go, yeah, you're a worthy cause. Yep, there's however much money's in the bank, makes it easy. So that's why you'd have that account. Rainy day, obviously, for savings. If you can set aside enough money to pay for 2 or 3 months or more of business expenses in this account, then you can weather some storm. Yeah, good to have reserves. It's always good to have reserves, and you can use it for other opportunities. I see more than my fair share of opportunities. Lots of them are terrible, but if you see a good one, you can go, that's a good opportunity, and throw some money at it and see where it goes. So it's good to have a rainy day account. And then the taxes account is the final bank account. It's a savings account. You can have it with another bank account with a different bank to pay a tax bill. By putting money aside every week, fortnight, month, you'll have enough money to pay your tax. And if you go close, let's say you've got a 15 grand tax bill at the end of the quarter, and you've used this system and you've got 14,500 set aside, well, you'll be closer than you would have been without a system. And that's the way it works. It's easier to find $500 than it is to find 15 grand. So there's a little summary of the bank accounts we suggest you have. Importantly, you don't want any way to spend money out of the deposits account, and you can have a card access if you need it on your account, and the expenses account's obviously a pretty good one to have a card access on. For me, my wallet's somewhere else. I've got stickers on my cards. I've got a picture of a snail and a picture of a duck, I think, on my 2 cards, so I can tell them apart. So I know when I'm paying for something, which card it should go on. And that's it. Everyone with me? Cool. Alrighty. So what I want to do, just take a minute to breathe. So why the heck are we doing this? You've been running a business. You've got, there we go, John. He's got the money question. We've been running a business for 6 months, 12 months, 5 years with one bank account. What the heck are we doing this for? So I want you to breathe for a second. Imagine lodging a BAS and the client and your accountant says, your bill's 12 grand. And you go, cool, I'll just pay that. Would that be a good feeling? I reckon that'd be a great feeling. I can't wait to lodge BASs now. Well, I can, but you know, it's a great feeling because there's money sitting there and you don't have to stress about it. You can go, cool, there's money there. Or imagine getting paid what you think you're worth. That'd be nice. So that's why we're doing this. So I'll talk about how to bring it all into practice, but I just wanted to stop because it's important to, Dave's here. He's here for the clincher. It's important to remember why the heck we're doing this, because it's easy to get lost in detail. And I'm an accountant. I love detail, but this detail's, you know, it's detail. So what do we do? How do you do this? How do you take your system from being a cash flow chaos to implementing this system? Open the bank accounts. See, it's 3 steps. Open bank accounts. Determine your percentages. John got to me there first. And then you transfer the money. That's pretty simple. So we'll go into some detail. I'll spell that out to you. So what you do, first step is identify if you've got any of these accounts already. So you might have a bank account. A typical business might have, businesses that I see, they'll have 2 bank accounts. They'll have a bank account that money goes into and expenses go out of. And then they'll have a second account that's nominally set up so that they can put some money aside for tax that normally has a couple of grand in it at the best. That's not an uncommon experience from looking at faces. Yep. So first step is work out if you've got what accounts you've got and what accounts they might fit into. So generally the bank, if you've got an account that a lot of different people or recurring income goes into, that's probably going to be your deposit account. You're going to open a different account for expenses. If you've got an account that's got 1 million direct debits coming out of it and you can control very easily the money that goes in, then that's probably going to be your expenses account rather than your deposits. Steve, can you use sub accounts? Look, probably you need to have, they need to be bank accounts. So it's like separate account numbers so you can track balances separately. Whether the banks, different banks call them different things, and I'm not going to say you should bank with a particular bank over another one. We use NAB. I quite like them, but talk to your bank and work out what they call it and what you need. I implemented this in moving from changing banks entirely. So that was sort of helpful, but that one, you sort of got to sketch out. What have you got? What do you need? Yeah, Suncorp. Talk to Suncorp. I mean, cool. I can do that. Skip between slides. We'll get to it. We're with the graphic designer putting together a do-it-yourself implementation guide, and it'll have this summary in it. So you can probably even have a tick box next to it. Do you have this account already? And then you can work out what it is. Does that make sense? So my watch is going off because it's the time that my boys go to bed. Alrighty. Yeah. So it's not precise. As sad as it sounds, it's not precise. So work out what you've got, open some new bank accounts, and then you've got to update your accounting software, get the bank feeds working. I don't know how Zoho works, but you've got to get that set up. That can take, it doesn't take long once you've made the decision to do it, but it can take a couple of weeks to open bank accounts, get cards, transfer direct debits. That's a thing. So determine percentages. So what I've done, I've worked backwards with the with our percentages, with our account names, because you sort of got to work backwards. So taxes, we can help you work out what you need to put aside for your tax, or if you want to do it yourself, have a look at your last activity statements. Say, look at your last 4 activity statements, and again, we'll give you some maths in the implementation guide. Work out how much you had to pay, work out what percentage that is of your turnover, and then start there. That's as good a spot as any spot to start. If you're doing it a rough guide, we calculate. We're pretty precise with our calculations of how much goes aside for tax and pay-as-you-go, withholding and super. And there's 5 different ways you pay tax in Australia, or including super. So you've got your pay-as-you-go withholding, your pay-as-you-go instalments for business owners. You've got superannuation, you've got your GST, and then you've got your final income tax. So you need to make sure you've got, we've got a nice system that works it all out. Rainy day, start with something. If you've got tons of cash in your bank now, you can sort of have a nice percentage, or you can sort of bump up to something aggressive. If cash is tight in your business right now, start with something. Start with 1%. Have another look at it. Yep. Yeah, Michelle, that's right. Yeah, tax is a funny one. Oh, sorry, rainy days on my screen, not on yours. Rainy day, start with something. Put aside $1 or 1%. You'll find that once you've started putting something aside, it gets addictive, and you just want to keep putting something else aside. So it's nice. It's a good one to go. And then someone else, depending on your appetite, you could set a giving target in your business to say, I want to give $5,000 this year, or $2,000 this year, or whatever the number might be. Or you start with a small number, and so you've got some money sitting aside there, so you can think of projects that come up. That's those ones. Am I answering your question so far, John? You happy with that? Is John still there? No. I can't see John. Cool. He can see me. He can hear me. Good. All right. Thanks, John. Self. Work out what you want to get paid. I've got a client we're implementing this with now. They've been paying themselves $600 a week plus a car, but $600 a week. And I said to them, well, what do you think you're worth? And they said, this size business, about 100 grand a year. And I said, yeah, I think that's probably right. 100, 120. And they're getting paid 30 because they think that's what is in the business. So I said, well, let's work out what percentage 100 is. And you're on a pretty steep growth curve in terms of turnover for their business. And so they should get paid probably 135 this financial year coming from 30, because they didn't value themselves enough to put money aside for themselves. So work out what it is that you think you're worth, and we can set some percentages there. And then expenses becomes what's left. So what we find when we implement this is there's not enough money left in the expenses account to pay for the expenses once everything else has been taken out. And that's not unusual, and that's a little bit by design as well. Going back to the top, by cutting the expenses by cutting the money that's available to the business and restricting that right out, we're going to cut the expenses of the business and you'll spend less. As an example, I like my tech. I'm looking at lots of screens. I like my tech. Yeah, Michelle, you'll be surprised there's lots of expenses. Yep, that's so true. So one of my clients suggested they've rolled out 34 big monitors to everyone on their team, and they love it. They're saying productivity is up. It's fantastic. And I love my tech. I'm like, yeah, I'll go spend $1,000 on a new monitor. That sounds great. And I looked in my expenses bank account. And I went, well, I've got payroll. I've got this. I got that. I try to keep a couple of weeks of expenses in there just in case. And I realized I didn't have enough money to spend on a new monitor, which made me a bit sad because I've got lots of money sitting in my tax account. I thought, But the reality is this system just saved me $1,000 by not having money sitting there that I could spend. Didn't spend it. I've now got $1,000 more in my bank account. I've got plenty of, I've got a garage full of monitors. Actually, if anyone wants spare monitors, that's a whole other story. But that's how it works. Have a look at your P&L, work out what you're spending money on. And one of the great things about changing your expenses account, if you cancel your card to go from the account that you've been using to a new one, it'll stop all your direct debits, and then you'll probably work out you didn't need some. So that's a fantastic way to save some money as well. So, all right, we're on the home straight. Everyone still with us? Cool. All right, transfer money on a regular schedule. So again, going back to the top of at the top, systems are important. You want to spend as little time thinking about money in your business as you can, so you can think about other stuff. So we need to determine your schedule, whether it's weekly, fortnightly, monthly, twice monthly. It depends on your business. It depends on lots of things. Your temperament. We transfer money weekly. We pay our staff weekly. So weekly just makes sense for us. Other business owners get paid fortnightly. Fortnightly works for them. I was talking to another client on the drive in this evening, and they said that they transfer money weekly. They pay, monthly. So work out a schedule. And so for us, it's Tuesdays. I spend 2 hours every Tuesday on admin. So internal admin, probably 40 minutes looking at bank accounts, paying bills, and then do some internal reporting and stuff like that. So that's our schedule. We've got a spreadsheet. We'll be able to share that by the end of the week as well. So you just enter the amount. So let's say you got $8,000 was deposited into your account, into the deposits account this particular week. Once you've worked out your percentages, you just type in 8,000, and then it says, here's the amount you transfer to your bank accounts. No thinking, transfer the money. Nice and simple. And then that'll clean out your bank account, and then you can pay your other bills, pay your staff, pay yourself. Nice and simple. And then you transfer money, pay your bills. So that's what you do on a weekly system. We've been doing this in our business since the 1st of July. And I was a skeptic because I don't like lots of bank accounts because that's messy. Since then, I've paid 2 bills, not on Tuesdays. Every bill you get, you can wait a week or a fortnight. I had somebody send me a reminder of a bill that I forgot from months ago, and I replied and I said, look, I'm really sorry, I'll pay that on Tuesday. There's one example of when I didn't pay the bill on a Tuesday. My car rego, I had a bunch of mail that I sort of threw on a pile over in the corner because it wasn't urgent, or the non-urgent looking stuff. And I opened it up and I realized when I read it that my car rego was due the next day, and I paid it straight away. If I had have opened my mail, I would have known it would have been due. It would have been paid in a normal schedule, but that's about the only time I haven't done it this year. So, and that's an example of, I could have left it for another week, but that wouldn't have been a sensible idea. All right. Simples. So what do we do? Let me just look at my next slides. Cool. All right. So we've got, as I'm sure all of you have, if you've been hanging around with Nick for a while, We've got 3 different models of how we implement it. We've got done for you. So we look at your data, done for you, and give you percentages, and then and really guide you through it. Look at and help you out each pay period to make sure things are on track. We've got done with you, where we roll up our sleeves with you and work out what your percentages should be going in with your numbers and when working closely. And then we've got our do it yourself paperwork. So we've got an implementation guide and our calculator, and so you can go do it yourself. So hang on, my fancy mouse. Do it yourself. I'll make an implementation guide. It's still with our graphic designers. We're going backwards and forwards. Graphic designers love them. It'll be available by the end of the week. If you want a copy of the implementation guide, shoot me a note and we'll shoot it out to you. And we'll get that out there. My email address is actually cakeaccounting with a T, just in case you're wondering. Thanks. Shoot me an email to the right email address, and I don't think I can change it without breaking. No, I can't change it. I'm not going to. It's got a T in it. Spell accounting right. So that's how long I've been doing it. We'll get that out to you. It'll have enough to make it dangerous. And thanks, Nick. And I want you to have that so you can have the best chance of success. Are there any other questions? 1,000 of them. Mic's on, chat in, whatever you want to do. And how are we doing for time, Nick?
Yeah, we're pretty good actually. We're at 7:20, so we've got 10 minutes or so. So we've got about 5 minutes or so for questions if anyone's got.
James,
Cool.
quick question for you. What's, in doing this implementation, what, I guess, challenges have you seen in shifting from, the one bank account or the 2 bank accounts to something like this, in terms of juggling, payments from this account now and incomes from that account and all that sort of stuff? What are the challenges that you see when people try and implement?
The initial one in sort of the transition is making sure there's money for all the direct debits, the car payments to be taken out of the right account. And you can manage that I've seen that managed in 2 ways. One is, making sure there's money everywhere and that's fine. The other way I've seen is they'll call me if they want money. And that sort of approach, that they'll call me if they want money works for, I think, some things. I think Macquarie Leasing want money in the bank account when the time comes.
Yeah.
So
they're not forgiving.
less so. Look, I'll be honest. It helps if you've got some money to sort of float it. If you've got a couple of weeks worth of expenses, you can make sure there's money in accounts before you sort of go all in. That really helps. If you are lean, well, you need it more than anyone else. So it's just a matter of making sure you can get it right. That's one of the big, and the other one is the mindset. Actually doing it is one that comes up, and the other one is the discipline of only sitting and looking at your banks once a week. That can really get to some people, but those, again, tight cash flow and not enough discipline to do it are the reasons you should be doing it. If that makes sense. How does this affect the accounts in Xero? You have more accounts in Xero. So in Xero, I've got a whole bunch of accounts. I've set up rules. So when I transfer money, I put a particular words there, and so the rules in Xero sort of pick up where the money's going, which makes it a bit easier. You've just got to be careful when you're transferring money from account to account and how you account for it. But Xero's fine. My personal Xero subscription, I think I had 15 bank accounts personally, in all feeding in Xero at the same time. Xero deals with it just fine. Yeah. the multiplicity of your accounts isn't the problem. It's making sure that you set up rules, and we sort of help you with this, making sure that all the rules are set up correctly so that when you transfer money, it appears in the right spots. That's the biggest trick. But yeah, I don't know. Does Zoho Books, Nick, can you have multiple I'm sure you can have multiple bank accounts.
Yeah, you can have multiple bank accounts, and same thing, setting up rules so that when the statements come in, it just automatically allocates out.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So reporting from Xero is accurate. Yep. So your balance sheet is your balance sheet, and it's got all your bank accounts listed there. Your profit and loss, nothing changes other than hopefully you're spending less money, so you'll see more in profit. That's how that works. Credit cards. I've had a credit card question. Credit cards add complexity, really. If you like using a credit card to get the points, good for you. I'm not going to talk about fringe benefits tax on that one right now, but it's something you might want to think about. But it just adds some complexity unless you've got a credit card that's for your expenses and then another credit card for yourself. And plus, if you're trying to restrict the amount of money that's available to business, you don't want a credit card, because then you'll just go, what's the limit? Let's go. So credit cards are not a good idea if you're trying to limit your spending. Any more? Cool. All right, I'll keep talking then. You've got my email address. You can reach out if there's anything else. So the done with you implementation, just so you've got the details on that one. So I've got there a complete implementation and an express implementation. The difference between a complete implementation and thanks, Dougie. I have my email program closed, so I don't know what's going on there. The difference between a complete implementation and express implementation is we spend a lot more time with a complete implementation working out your tax position and working out the variables that go into it. Express, we get it pretty much right, but I'm not going to hold my hand on my heart and say it'll be perfect. So it's just how much certainty you want on that level of how much money should I set aside for tax. The other thing that we do though is as we go through this, we're having a good look at Xero and working pretty closely with you. So there's a number of meetings and calls to go through the process. As you can imagine, we're opening bank accounts and looking at your numbers closely and putting them into a spreadsheet. So there's things that we pick up looking more closely at your numbers. So that's the other thing to think about as we go through that. So tonight we're discounting our done with you implementation. So I wrote those. Gosh, I did write those numbers. So 297 for a complete or 197 for an express, which is just the tax difference really. But I guess the question is, when was the last time an accountant had a good look at your numbers and the way that your cash flowed through your business? So that's my sort of last thought on that one. John, if you have a credit card, the answer to your question, John, if you have a credit card that has direct debits for your business, can payments to your credit card be taken up as a business expense? The answer is a soft yes. If you've got invoices to your business name that have been paid on your personal credit card, I'm going to say it's a yes, you can. If you've just got other things that might be business expenses on your personal credit card, you've just got to be a bit careful with how that's dealt with. And it's a structure question. There's a lot of variables before I say a full-throated yes to that one. Sorry about the maybe answer. Yeah, petty cash is probably just an expense. Are you still running a petty cash? Sorry, Steve. I had a client ask me about petty cash and I was like, wow. They do exist. You don't have a checkbook though, do you? No. I ask. I've got about 5 checkbooks in my drawer at home, but I haven't written a check in years. All right. Cool. That's all I've got to say, Nick.
Excellent. Well, that was that was a great presentation. Actually, there's it's got me sort of thinking about my tax position. I was just sort of hiding in the bank account position, just hiding in the corner, and thinking, oh yeah, that's me. Yeah, I've done that. So so thanks for your time today. That was really generous of you, and you didn't disappoint. There was some great sort of stuff in there. I'm one of those ones that sort of think, wow, look, all these bank accounts, how much is that to manage? But at the end of the day, it's all pretty easy once you've got it, the system all set up. And
you think once and then don't think about it later.
Yeah.
And look, bank fees, you should be able to talk your bank into no fees. We're with NAB. I like NAB, and I don't pay much in fees at all.
Yeah, we've just with the new business, we've opened up new bank accounts, no fees. So
yep. You can do it.
Only fees are when you go in and take cash in and deposit it. But I can't remember the last time I saw a $50 note.
Oh, hang on, I'll show you one.
Yeah, just pull it out of the museum.
There you go. That's what they look like, in case you're wondering.
There you go. That's the real taste of money.
Don't eat it though. You can't eat this. It's plastic. It'll kill you.
Yeah. All right. So now we do have a prize tonight. Is that right? James?
Yep. So it's done with your implementation of this system, or I can or ask me anything over coffee, whichever you'd prefer.
Excellent. So coffee will have it done for you.
Or both, even. Why not?
Or both. All right, so we've got a special way as ever to draw this. We've got the wheel of names, so we've got all of your names in there, and we will spin the wheel, and there will be some lucky winner out there. You're going to have a coffee with James, or get their finances sorted out. Ba-doom. So lucky winner there is Donna Greenhills. Is Donna actually here? The rules here is that you actually have to be here to win. I can see Donna there, so good as gold. So maybe Donna, if you congratulations, that's awesome. Just drop your email or details into James in chat. In the chat box down below, you can you'll see a little box that says everybody, a drop down, but you'll find James's name down there, and you can just drop your details in there, or you've got James's email, so you can just get in touch with him. Anyway.
Reach out. Perfect.
All right. Okay, let's see if I can get back to the main screen. Awesome. Well, thanks again, James. That was an excellent night. Hopefully everybody enjoyed that tonight. There were some good takeaways that you can go and implement. And also for James's offer, if you want to take him up on that. I've known James for a long time, so definitely would vouch for him. So just remember, tomorrow we have office hours, which is on at 10 a.m. We do that by Zoom, so we'll pop the link into chat there for those that want to come along to office hours. No agenda, no presentation. It really is just a discussion. And in fact, tonight's presentation was kicked off because James jumped onto one of those office hours. We just had a conversation about cash flow and things. So who knows what happens out of it. So that's at 10 o'clock tomorrow. Feel free to join. Bring a coffee, glass of wine, whatever you drink at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we'll see you there. And then next week is on Tuesday, so we'll run this again next Tuesday. New speaker, different topic. I can't remember who it is yet, but we do have someone lined up. We'll let you know about that. And so just check the Facebook page. If you're not a member of the Business Owners Smashing It Online Facebook page, go and join there because we make the announcements in there, and you'll probably see it all over LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, anyway, and we'll fire out an email as well. Or you can just register tonight, and then you'll get the link when it comes through. So thanks again, James. Thanks everyone for coming along tonight. Go away and have a great evening. Go and have a great week, and we'll see you back here either tomorrow or next week.
Thanks, Nick. Night. Thanks, James.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thanks, Tim. It was lovely speaking to you. You're an excellent You're an excellent. Yeah. I've got 2 as well. You're an excellent, excellent
Guinea pig.
numbers. Yeah, well, I was going to say guinea pig, but yeah, numbers, letters person. So cool.
All right. Well, I will close this off.
Excellent.
All the people that are here, probably the ones that have disappeared and having dinner, apart from the ones we can see.
Excellent. All right.
All right,
Well, now
Michelle.
go home and eat dinner.
Yes, indeed.
And thanks, Michelle. Michelle's works with me, so thanks for
Oh,
spending your night listening to my voice again.
Those dulcet tones.